Welcome to Ukmergė, a region filled with history and manor houses to show it to you. You will find Ukmergė district in central Lithuania, right at the crossroads between a lot of cities. Ukmergė is settled right in the middle between Kaunas and Utena, Panevėžys and Vilnius. And it is just around 1 hour away from each of these cities when driving by car. Ukmergė is also a great place to stop by when traveling from Vilnius toward Panevėžys and further to Riga in Latvia. Ukmergė district is not a very populous one, with around 34,000 inhabitants. At first glance, Ukmergė doesn't seem like a place that has a lot to see or do there when compared with the popular places to visit. But Ukmergė city and the region around it have a few great places that are hidden from the spotlight and shrouded in legends. I have passed by Ukmergė a few times before, but I didn't fully explore it, so now is the time to dedicate a trip to the region. Let's start with Ukmergė city itself, which is situated at the center of the district. Ukmergė has quite a lengthy history and the city has been known since 1333. What is interesting is a legend about how it was named. Ukmergė is actually still quite a new name. Up until the First World War, the city was named Ukmergė. According to a legend, in the forests of these places once lived a beautiful virgin, which the local people called Ukmergė, Wolf Girl. One day, Tautvilas, son of Duke Dausprungas, was hunting in these forests when he was attacked by wolves. But he was saved by Ukmergė, who tamed and chased away the wolves. Later, Duke Dausprungas built a castle on the hill here and named it after the girl, Ukmergė. These days, there isn't even a ruin of a castle left because of all the fights against the Teutonic Order, but the hill fort is still standing tall and it is the heart of the city. From here you can see the panoramic views of Ukmergė and it is a nice spot to have a walk. There are also some lovely paths along the riverbank that start from here, as well as a little valley park at the foot of the hill fort. Up on a larger hill, you will find Ukmergė city center and Old Town, one of the few old towns left in Lithuania. It is not very large, but it is enough for a lovely walk with a cup of coffee. There are some interesting small alleyways and sculptures dotted around, which will entertain a traveler's eye. Actually, if you go to the tourism office, you can get a little map with sculptures marked there, and each of them has a story to tell. Also, quite noticeably, there seem to be too many sculptures of pigeons, and there is a reason why. We are a dedication to an old, very famous Lithuanian song, Zombie, by the band Antis. There also is an unexpected photography gallery just at some yard entrance, in between some local restaurants. Before the First World War, Ukmergė, just like many cities in Lithuania, had quite a large Jewish community. And there are a few community buildings left, like the synagogue, school, and more. For a more deep dive into Ukmergė's culture and history, don't skip visiting the city museum. There is quite a lot to see there, including interactive exhibitions for children too. We had some fun time excavating artifacts there with my son. After the museum, it's convenient to go for a stroll. Behind the museum and the main square, there is a nice park with a large playground and several observational decks to see the river valley and the rest of the city. There also is quite an interesting spot at the outskirts of the city, which is worth visiting if you enjoy the outdoors and if traveling with kids. It is a large sports and playground area with a miniature model park of Lithuania in the middle. It is still under development and not all the cities have their miniature buildings in, but the map is realistic with location names and it is a lovely little maze to roam around. Outside the city, Ukmergė district has more to offer for travelers. While in nature there isn't as much to see here as in many other districts, Ukmergė district is much more known for its manor houses, as it has quite a few. There even is a touristic route called the Ring of Manor Houses, and I am going to show you some of them. Let's start with probably the most famous one in the district, Taujenai Manor House. It is a well taken care of 18th century classical style house which used to belong to the family of Radvila, one of the oldest duke families in Lithuania. The manor was designed by Italian architects with a large English style park behind it. Taujenai is one of the largest manors in Lithuania and definitely the longest. All of this can be explored during a visit to the manor. While currently it is owned by a private business, the manor is open to visitors. There you can explore the ground floor rooms, visit the restaurant, or even come there during one of the numerous events held there. Our favorite spot of the manor was the park. It is quite large, well planned, interesting and cozy for a walk in nature. There are paths and interesting sculptures all around, with plenty of ponds and even a stream flowing all along the edge of the park. We were overjoyed to see that there is a little farm animal zoo as well, all incorporated beautifully into the landscape. The goats and the peacocks were roaming around freely, definitely adding to the manor's ambience. It is easy to say that my son definitely didn't want to leave from there anytime soon. But we had to move on to the next spot to visit, as this was just the first manor house of 6 that we planned to go to. The next stop on our way was the manor of President Antanas Smetona in Ukmergė. This is a very different place when compared to Taujenai. The manor here is probably the newest manor house in all Lithuania, built in the 1930s, just before the Second World War. Antanas Smetona is probably the most famous president of Lithuania to this day, despite the fact that he had a kind of authoritarian regime in Lithuania. Nonetheless, during the years of his rule, the country was prospering and people from that age were talking about those times with nostalgia. These days, there even are some food brands named after him. The museum situated at the manor also organizes a festivity every August to celebrate the birthday of Antanas Smetona. It's an interesting occasion where people come to the events dressed up in the style from the interwar period. But let's go back to Smetona's house itself. It is full of a modernist spirit with the authentic staircase and entryway still in place. In the museum inside, there are some exhibits about the president and the history of the interwar period in Lithuania. The house is situated right next to a lovely lake and there is quite a large park surrounding the manor. There even is a sauna house where anyone can book an educational sauna session. From one of the most modern manor houses in Lithuania, let's move to a place that is more than 500 years old. Near the village of Siesikai stands a Renaissance residential castle. Siesikai Castle is one of the very few Renaissance buildings left in the country and the oldest Renaissance castle in Lithuania. It was built sometime between 1492 and 1517 and belonged to the Daumantai family. The other famous Renaissance castles in Panemune, Raudonė and Biržai were all built almost 100 years later. Inside, the castle used to have walls decorated with frescoes, but much of it was destroyed during the wars and redecorations. Being such an old place, Siesikai Castle changed its owners a few times. First by the Radvila family, then by Daugėla, who took great care of his castle. But eventually Siesikai fell into the Soviet hands, where it was completely stripped of all the riches and authenticity it had accumulated throughout the centuries. Luckily, these days the manor is in good hands. It is being renovated in the style of its original interiors, and there are restorers working on recovering the frescoes on the second floor. For this reason, for most of the time, the castle is actually closed from the public eye. But the good news is that the works are due to finish in 2026. And also, there is a small window of visiting opportunity in 2025. During the restoration break from May till the end of July, the castle is open for visiting. I was lucky enough to go there just as it first opened in the beginning of May. And even though it is not finished, the castle is beautiful. And during the excursion, the caretakers told a lot of interesting stories about its history. Just like many old places, Siesikai Castle is shrouded in dark legends. One of them is particularly creepy. The story goes like this. One of the dukes of Daumantai, who lived in the castle, had a wife named Halška Daumantienė. She fell in love with a foreign knight whom she used to meet in the moonlight by the lake, but her husband Daumantas found out about it. Filled with anger, he bricked her up within the walls of the tower. Even to this day, the locals say that in the moonlight, the Duchess descends from the tower to the lakeside, waiting for her knight. Well, that's definitely not a story one would want to hear by the castle at nightfall, especially since there is a lovely campsite right across the lake, perfectly situated to enjoy the beautiful view of the castle. From Siesikai, let's go to a more humble yet just as spirited place in Leonpolis. It's a small manor house built in a wonderful location on the edge of a hill overlooking a river valley. Leonpolis Manor might not look like much today, but it has a very long history. The architecture of the current house is a result of a renovation done in the 1850s, but the manor stands there since the 18th century, or possibly even earlier. The house was originally built as a hunting lodge by the Radvila family and has fragments left of Gothic architecture. Anyway, what makes this place interesting nowadays is that the current owners have a unique way of representing it to the public. The house has some renovations going on, but mostly the interiors are left as they were, only to be decorated with art and furniture, letting the old spirit of the house blend with the modern use of it. Leonpolis hosts a lot of events and art exhibitions. The exhibitions add another beautiful dimension within the walls of the manor, and they even extend to the old basement. One fun addition to the manor is that inside there is a mini self-service shop where you can buy some local farm products. Overall, Leonpolis is a cute place to stop by when passing by and take in its relaxing atmosphere, but it will not take too much time to explore it. Also, the working hours are a bit unclear here, and usually the exhibitions and events take place during the warmer months, which is a common factor in most places in the countryside. Another manor house in the region is just outside Ukmergė, and actually not much of it is left these days. It is Vaitkuškis Manor. The ruins of the manor show that there used to be a grand house built here in the 19th century and belonged to the Kosakovsky family. What's interesting about it today is that during the warm season, the owners organize events there and even bake traditional pastries on weekends. One more place worth stopping for on Ukmergės manor house ring is Taujenai Manor. It is a lovely 19th century manor, fully renovated and adjusted to modern day needs. While privately owned, the manor is ready for various activities, private events and accommodation. There also is a restaurant which makes the manor accessible for casual visiting too. Overall, visiting Ukmergė city and district left a lovely impression, making me want to come back again. As I was filming the region, I came here a few times, and each time my son insisted that we would stop by at the park of the mini Lithuania. Meanwhile, I was impressed by the cute city center of Ukmergė and an excursion to Siesikai Castle. I'm sure that I'll be coming back here again one day. Maybe to an event held at one of the many manor houses, who knows? But in general, the region is worth coming to for a day trip from the bigger cities, especially if you like history and architecture. See you in Ukmergė, and thanks for watching!